Welcome back to the Law Show. Bob Kerrigan with you this morning, and thank you very much for all of the text messages that we have received. And we also receive emails that you can email me directly if you want to. It's just bob@kerrigan.com, bob@kerrigan.com. And I'll respond to the email. If you ask us about something that we don't do in an area of law that we are not specialist in, we'll try to get you referred to somebody that in your community, wherever you are, across North Florida especially, that has the expertise in the field that you have a need for. We've had questions about wills and trusts and things like that, which we don't do, but there are very fine lawyers available that will help you. And despite the public sentiment, which is largely a response to some ethical, unethical things that lawyers have done, lawyers are the brunt of bad jokes. We call them bad jokes. Most people think they're really funny, but anyway, the lawyer jokes are pervasive. Why? Because nobody likes their lawyers generally. I say no. Very few people just like lawyers generally. Those lawyers, they're just great people. I mean, you might say that about architects, for example, or you might say it about CPAs, or you probably wouldn't say it about CEOs, but you might say it about a particular kind of real estate people. They're really wonderful people. They care and they engage with their customers and all that kind of stuff. They don't say it about lawyers. People don't like lawyers generally, as a general statement. But they like their lawyer. They like their lawyer because their lawyer's looking out for their interests. They just don't care about the rest of them. Okay? So, but wait just a second. If everybody likes their lawyer, then we kind of have a wrong image of what lawyers do. And what lawyers do is protect the interest of their client. Now, ethical lawyers separate out their own interest from the interest of their client, their own financial interest from the interest of the client, or any conflicts of interest. And you probably have heard this before. If a lawyer has a conflict of interest, they'll say, here's the reason I can't give you 100% loyalty. But the lawyers are there to advocate for their clients within the bounds of the legal profession, the rules that they follow, the ethical principles that they have to adhere to. And we have a very, very good disciplinary system for lawyers that act unethically or improperly. I'm not so sure that's true about the legal profession regulating politicians who are lawyers. I think they've been grossly deficient, allowing lawyers who are elected officials to do just outrageous things, and the various bar associations, including Florida, don't do anything about it, and they should. But we have a very good system otherwise for lawyers that act improperly. There is a way for the Florida bar to address that. And if that has happened to you, you can file those kind of complaints with the Florida bar, and they'll look into it for you. They do a very good job with that. But as I say, they're just weak on politicians. And the problem is, they need politicians to a certain extent, and so they cut them probably more slack than they should. But it's gotten to the point now where elected officials that are lawyers who say the most outrageous and unfair and even dishonest things, nothing really happens to them. Okay? Ashley Moody, for example, ran an advertisement, in a political advertisement, where she made statements that were not true. These are not true. And the statements that she made were in a political ad. Now, they later pulled that political ad, but she was the Attorney General of Florida when she said that. And of course, there is an argument that she should not have intervened in a lawsuit that the Supreme Court found to be meritless, but that's another issue altogether. All right, so now we're on to some other subject for a minute. And this is, my source is something called Meb Page Today. I really like this site. These are doctors that write about various medical issues. And this particular article, I'm going to cover two subjects actually in this segment of the show. But the first article I'm going to talk about is titled "Beware of Health Insurance Brokers." And I'm going to read from it. And it's by Katie Talento and Gay Ba, B-A-I. PhD. So here's the thrust of this, and this is for employers primarily. This particular article I'm talking about is aimed at employers. Health insurance brokers market themselves to employers as a buyer's agent, promising to use their expertise to find employers the best deal for health insurance. A new study, however, reported a positive association between the health insurance broker commissions and premiums paid by employers offering fully insured group health plans to their workers. What's more, brokers are also paid various types of bonuses by insurance carriers based on the amount of total business the broker has placed with the carrier, the amount of new business delivered to the carriers, or other types of metrics based on profit delivered to the insurance carriers. Back to the evil insurance companies, okay? Really at the heart of everything where there's a lot of money involved, we find the insurance companies. If you're an employer, this article goes on to say, for a fully insured health insurance plan, your broker has every incentive to sell you a higher price plan compared to a lower price plan. A plan structured to produce more profit for the carrier rather than savings to you. A plan sold by the carrier that has a better bonus structure compared to a better plan for you offered by another carrier. Larger employers often hire one of a handful of major insurance carriers to administer a self-funded plan. What's wrong with that? The answer is, what incentive does that carrier have to make sure the employer isn't being overcharged, billed erroneously, fraudulently, or billed for inappropriate and unnecessary care at more expensive sites of care? What's the disincentive? There's none. Okay? So fully insured employers buy plans sold by agents who have no incentive to keep costs down or recommend the most suitable plan. Self-funded employers, we just talked about, have carriers that have no incentive to keep costs down or quality high. What are employers to do? The article says. First, smoke it out. Fully insured employers should ask their broker to disclose all dollars flowing to them as a result of the employer's business, including all commissions and bonuses paid for health plans as well as for ancillary lines such as disability or life insurance. Second, self-fund employers may want to enter into a direct fee arrangement with their broker who would receive no commissions from any carrier and instead is paid a flat rate, a per subscriber per month rate. Okay? Our healthcare broker status makes service providers, brokers, and insurance carriers do better financially when patients are sicker and charge higher prices. Rehumanizing employer-sponsored health benefits and require competition on the basis of delivering the highest quality care for the lowest possible cost is the goal we should have. The only way this will happen is when all the incentives in the supply chain, including brokers and carriers, are realigned to the best interest of employers and their workers. I highly recommend this for employers that may be dealing with this issue, and it's from MedPage Today. All right, another article from MedPage Today, which I found really interesting. Well, actually two articles, but one I found very interesting dealt with e-cigarettes. So I'll pass that on to you. If you're trying to quit smoking and you're smoking e-cigarettes, what's the latest on this? Okay. Adults who used e-cigarettes and smoked cigarettes, which is what generally happens, they do both, had similar levels of inflammation and oxidative stress predictive of cardiovascular disease, and exclusive cigarette smokers as exclusive cigarette smokers in an analysis of data from the Population Assessment of Tobacco and Health study, meaning that they had the same potential harm as people who just smoke cigarettes. So you say, well, I smoke e-cigarettes and I smoke like 5 times as much e-cigarettes than regular cigarettes. The studies early indication are it's just as bad as if you smoke just cigarettes, okay? These cigarette guys, I say guys, I always think women have higher standards than some of the businessmen that are involved in cigarette companies. I don't know if that's true or not. It's kind of a chauvinist view, I guess, of things. But these guys are really clever at figuring out how to sell cigarettes. Okay, so you through these various e-cigarette companies, they pitch out these e-cigarettes, and people are sitting there smoking them, and they think, "Hey, it's not hurting me. It's not hurting me. It's not hurting me. So I'll go ahead and smoke a cigarette tonight. I'll enjoy it after dinner. I smoke a couple of smokes." Well, as it turns out, it's just as bad for you. Okay, they are always at it. When we entered into the final agreement with the state did with the tobacco industry, the state made a mistake by allowing the point of presence displays for tobacco, and that's why they're all over these convenience stores, every place. I mean, they're just every place you can see. It's an awful thing. Cigarettes cause so much damage and so much harm to our society and to our healthcare system. Many studies have shown that you smoke cigarettes, you have all kinds of complications from disease for sure, but in terms of just getting better, you're delayed getting better. If you smoke cigarettes, you have a higher incidence of other problems that result because you're a cigarette smoker. You're in the hospital longer, healthcare costs are more, and on and on and on. It's just an awful, awful habit. It is not inconceivable in this country, but it would be the public policy of this country to eliminate them. Okay, no more cigarettes. We give you a year. In a year, everybody's going to quit. We're going to take them off the market, and we're not going to have them here because they're poisonous. They're actually poisonous to the human body. The analysis of this data with study participants surveyed in 2013 and 2014, it's among the first nationally representative analysis to explore the cardiovascular toxicity of electronic cigarettes use by measuring biomarkers known to predict heart attack, stroke, and other cardiovascular events and strokes. A study appeared in the American Heart Association. So I just will conclude this by saying that the overwhelming evidence is right now that the predominant way e-cigarettes are used is in combination with cigarettes. It's just as bad as smoking cigarettes themselves. This is from Saylyn, Sayln Bowles, Bolyes, who's a contributing writer for MedPage Today. I really like this MedPage Today, as I mentioned, because I think the articles are really helpful and they're understandable by us. We're not medical doctors, and we don't understand all of the medical aspects of some of the more technical journals, the American journal, various journals that the specialists have in the field of medicine. But this is written more for lay people to understand it, so I highly recommend it. And there's an article, I'll just tell you quickly, by Dr. McCary saying that what Ron DeSantis is doing in Florida is the European model, is the best way to administer COVID-19. So credits to Governor DeSantis for his approach to the administration of the COVID-19 vaccines that are going to be available to the public. Bob Kerrigan with you on The Law Show, and we're here every Sunday morning at 9:30. Encourage you to send us a text. You can send us a text right now while we're on the air, or you can email us or communicate with us otherwise. And thank you for watching The Law Show.